Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hey everyone, it's your good friend Eric Thompson. Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. We are so grateful as always that you are listening, that you're engaged. We are looking forward to today's episode because we have an amazing guest that you are going to learn a lot from. I am convinced of that. I want everyone to say hello to and please welcome Julianne Rawlins. Say hello, Julianne.
Hello, ninjas.
All right, fantastic. Yes, hello, ninjas. Julianne, you are with Sotheby's Realty in Oregon. Why don't we start with just telling us about where are you exactly in Oregon? Just kind of get us oriented and tell us about the markets that you serve.
Yes, I am in beautiful Southern Oregon. We are just above the California border. The major cities in our area are Medford, Ashland, Jacksonville, Central Point, some of those areas. I serve Jackson County and parts of Josephine County.
All right, fantastic.
We have the Crater Lake National Park nearby and home of the world-renowned Shakespeare Festival.
The world-renowned Shakespeare Festival, amazing. A beautiful part of the country. You're lucky to live there, and I'm sure you feel that way. We're lucky to have you today as a guest. You guys, here's the theme for today. This is going to be called Your Ninja 9 Challenge. We're going to hear as we get into this with Julianne about what happens when you challenge yourself to do the Ninja 9 activities and all the amazing results that happen. And we're going to get some other takeaways along the way. Everyone should know that Julianne is one of our Ninja coaching members. So thank you, Julianne, for being one of our coaching clients. You work with Mark Johnson. Mark is an amazing Ninja coach. And so before we get to the Ninja 9 Challenge, I just kind of tease that. We'll do some other things to lay the groundwork. Why don't we start with, Julianne, just to help to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us about your Ninja story. How did you get first introduced to Ninja and what happened after that? You know, everyone has a great Ninja story and it's fun to hear those. So go ahead and share that with us if you would.
I started my career in real estate a little later in life. I started as a transaction coordinator in a local brokerage here. Ultimately, they did not have a business model that fit my personality. I thought, gosh, if this is real estate, I don't think I want to do real estate. I talked to a couple of other agents in the area and they said, hey, there are some other ways of doing business out there, so don't give up. So I ended up becoming a selling agent in 2018. And I started at a brokerage where Ninja classes were being taught. So my first brokerage where I was an agent, it was there. And I was attending those classes, and incidentally, they were being taught by Shelley Culbertson, who is now a Ninja coach.
Yes.
And I learned so much from her, helped my career get started. And in 2019, in November, I went to my first installation. And it was so great. I already had a few principles, but I was able to see how it all came together. And I was on fire after that. It was so life-changing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I did a second installation in October of 2022, also really great, just a nice little reset. And then I recently did a Ninja Now, which I will talk about a little bit later. Yeah,
you were on the cruise, the Ninja sailing cruise, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So lots of Ninja experience, lots of live Ninja workshops. Just coincidence that you joined a brokerage that was practicing Ninja, that was following Ninja. Right. Yeah. And so I'm guessing that felt refreshing, maybe compared to the first experience that you had. It felt more like a natural fit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, if I can do real estate this way, then I can definitely do real estate. And it really fit my personality and how, just the way I was already living my life.
Yes, absolutely. What did you do before real estate?
I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. I was also a dog groomer while I was a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I had some rentals that we did, so I'd done some real estate kind of in that way. And before I had children, I worked at an advertising agency. So quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few things. Okay, yeah. And that's really common, right? That's really common with real estate agents and with ninjas. They come to real estate with a varied background, lots of great things and that you could bring with you to real estate. But then you went full on. If I'm doing the math right, 7 years ago in
2017 was when I started. Well, I started as the transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
So this is my eighth year.
Yeah. Got it. Great. Okay. So this is your 8th year. Okay. So by the way, we're recording this at the end of April, 2025. you've had a really good start to the year. You had a really good first quarter in particular. Tell us about the results that you've had, and then we'll get to how you created those results. So tell us about the start to the year and your first quarter and how that's gone for you so far.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back just a little bit. In 2024, I only had one transaction in all of January and February. I had a really great 2023 and it was the best year of my career. I kind of just was resting on those laurels a little bit. And like all humans do, I stopped doing what got me to that point.
Got it.
At the beginning of 2025, I had 7 transactions in January and February. So is that a 700%?
It's a 700% increase. Yeah. So maybe the correct title of this podcast should be how to increase your business by 700%. That would probably get some people's attention. But yes, my goodness, that is remarkable. You had a slower start to the year 2024, and you have just come into this year flying, on fire, big results. So you had 7 closings in the first quarter.
Yes.
And how did those break out between buyers and sellers? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have that data in front of me, but it's a pretty even mix.
Pretty even
in between the both. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So now we're going to get to the question I'm guessing that a lot of people have on their mind is, okay, what did she do? What did Julianne do to create those results? And one thing I'll say to preface this is that a reminder to all ninjas is that it takes a little time. There's a time lag between a full-on commitment to activities and then seeing the results. I like the metaphor of farming. A farmer who's working the fields is planting the seeds and tilling and fertilizing and doing all those things. And there are things happening below the ground. The sprouts are starting to come up, but they're not through the ground yet. And so sometimes that can be frustrating that you don't see the results right away. So it takes some time. So it took a little time for you, but yeah. Okay. So what were you doing to create those first quarter results, and when were you doing them? Walk us through that.
So in November, Mark, my coach, usually has us do a database challenge where he challenges us to call all of our database the month of November to help us set up for the good year. And then I was listening to, I think it was a Ninja Weekly action tip where Larry Kendall was talking about gamifying your tasks and things so that you give yourself a little competition. And so those two things were kind of going on in my head. And I remembered that I started out really slow the year before, and I was like, I am not going to have that happen in 2025. So what can I do to set up my first quarter to be more successful? So I came up with the idea of taking the Ninja scorecard that you get after you go to an installation, and I kind of tweaked it a little bit and added some extra things in because of the time of the year, like making sure my business plan was done, cleaning my car, cleaning my desk, just doing some things to set myself up for when the business came, right? So I did this Ninja scorecard, and I told myself if I got a certain number of points for 3 weeks in November before Thanksgiving, then I gave myself a reward. And then I also thought, well, gosh, it'd be great if I opened this up to my office and did this for everyone else too. So then our whole office could have a good first quarter. And so we invited, others from my office and had this little challenge where we counted up our points for all the things that we did, like how many notes we wrote, how many Ford conversations we had, basically all the Ninja 9, plus some extra things like open houses and sending flow and, some things like that. And so I hit my goals all 3 weeks, and I was able to get my little reward, which was having my living room decorated by a designer. I'd always wanted to have that done. And so I'm working on that now. It was a great experience. It was really fun, and I'm competitive, and so it was fun to have something to kind of keep me moving, knowing that I was going to give myself a reward and that other people in my office were part of it as well.
Yes, so good. Julianne, so many things are coming up for me as takeaways. Number one, the resolve that you had and the commitment, where you said, you know what, I'm not satisfied with the results I had in the beginning of 2024. I want to change that. I want the beginning of 2025 to be different. So I am going to commit. I'm going to take Mark's challenge even further. And you looked at lots of aspects of the Ninja 9. By the way, a quick aside, just in case anyone's wondering about that November challenge that Mark does, what he believes is that November is a really easy time to be in flow with your database. You just reach out and express your gratitude, reach out and ask what people have planned for the end of the year and the holidays. So in case anyone's wondering about that. But again, you showed resolve, you showed commitment, and then you got creative and saw the power of team and got other people involved in this. We said, hey, I won't be alone. I'm going to do this with a group of people, and we're going to make it fun, make it a little bit of a competition because you're competitive. And so it was just 3 weeks of doubling down and just being extra committed.
Yeah, during that time, I've always been a really great 35 forward conversations a week. That was really natural for me and happened almost consistently, but I never really pushed myself to get to that 50. And once I saw that I could do it, that kind of actually has helped me from then on to push, to continue to push myself and say, I know I can get 50 forward conversations in. I know I can do my 2 real estate reviews. I know I can do all the Ninja 9 because I've done it. So why can't I do it every week?
Right. Was it easier or harder to go from 35 to 50? And the reason why I'm asking this is that there are a lot of ninjas out there that are good at getting 25, 30, 35 live conversations, but they might view it as a struggle, a challenge to get all the way to 50. They may even think it's impossible. What was it like for you to go from around 35 to getting all the way to 50?
I had to dig a little bit, honestly. It was definitely taking me out of my comfort zone. However, I had some ahas. I wasn't always calling people on my hot and warm list maybe as often as I should have. And having to reach that 50 helped me to do that more frequently. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how this works.
Yeah. Well, you shared with me when we were preparing for this podcast, a really important, a valuable tool for you has been the coaching business tracker that we use, where there's a column that has you input the last time you spoke to someone, spoke to someone on the warm list. And tell us about the ahas that you had around that.
I didn't have that for my November challenge because that came on the new tracker in January. So that was even before that. And so that's added a whole nother level now that I just love. But yeah, having my tracker in front of me and prior to this challenge, I'd see people and I'd be like, I need to call them, but I don't feel like calling them, or they're not going to, you start having that self-doubt of they don't really want to talk to me. I'm going to sound like I'm salesy. I'm bugging them, all those things that we do that keep us from making those calls when really it's all in our head and not how the people feel. And so I just ignored that voice in my head and did it anyways. And no one was mad that I called them.
No one was mad. It turns out they enjoyed hearing from you. Absolutely. This stuff works. It absolutely works.
And another thing that I really did, I heard somewhere, I can't remember if it was on the Ninja podcast or where I heard it, but I heard a great phrase that said, if you're invited, go. And that has been very powerful and has kind of been my new mantra, that when I'm invited to somewhere where I can have forward conversations and I can interact with people, I make myself go. And that, that time of year, there's lots of opportunities for that. And I really made sure I did that. And that helped as well, because I obviously prefer having forward conversations in person.
Yes.
So I tried to do that as much as possible.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Julianne, what's happening right now, without us even knowing it, is that there's someone out there who's getting inspired and they're saying to themselves, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my own 3-week challenge. I'm not going to wait till November. I'm going to do this now. And really this is happening because they're hearing your story. You did it, the results that you got. So help that person think about what they might expect. So are there shifts that you noticed right away? And then what did you notice later? So there you are back in November, you're doubling down, you're getting extra committed. What did you notice right away? And then what are the things that came a little bit later?
Yeah, I actually had a monumental mindset shift during all of this, and I hope I don't get emotional, but I had been thinking very transactionally and thinking I'm just, before this, or maybe at the beginning of this, I was just crossing it off my list to say I had it done. And as I went through this and I was doing a real estate review with a client one day. And on my way to deliver the real estate review, I was listening to a podcast from Mel Robbins about mindset and manifesting. And I had this huge aha during that time that I was living in fear mode I felt like there was a bear chasing me all the time, and I was running myself ragged, trying to do all the things I needed to do. And that day I got to deliver a real estate review, and I got to see the family and their cute little kids and how they were flourishing in their new home and how they were happy to see me. And I was like, I like doing this. Why do I fight it? And I love serving my clients, and I love doing these things. I need to be doing these activities out of that, with that mindset that I am helping them and that I love helping them, and not I have to do this and I'm checking it off my list. And that was something I really needed and has carried with me from then on.
Oh my gosh. That's so powerful, Julianne. That is so powerful. And thank you for being so open and transparent and sharing that story, kind of sharing the shift that you had. I mean, it sounds like that was an emotional shift, a powerful shift, and one that I think a lot of people need to hear. We see it a lot, where the Ninja, they hear so much about the Ninja 9, and the Ninja 9 has a bunch of numbers attached to it, right? 10 handwritten notes, 2 real estate reviews, 50 live interviews, and so it can turn into, if we're not careful, it can turn into feeling like a lot of work and feeling like a burden and feeling like I just got to get this checked off the list. But it's not about that, right? It's about the people, and it's about connecting with them and helping them and serving them, and also not at all about a transaction. I mean, those people that you went to visit, it was about connecting with them and adding value with the real estate review, and the transactions will happen. We know that, but you didn't show up to quote get a transaction. You just showed up with your heart.
And every time I start to kind of feel like I'm slipping back into fear mode, that's my word of the year. This year is heart. I just keep thinking about that over and over.
Yes, absolutely. What kept you going? I mean, I can kind of guess what you're going to say. What kept you going? Knowing that it takes a little time to get the results, knowing that you wanted a better first quarter. What was it that kept you going? What was it exactly what you just said? What kept you going was the joy and satisfaction with connecting with people.
It was part of it. I mean, honestly, there was that competitive part of me that just wanted to prove I could do it. And there was just, I just know I can do better and be better. And I had just been kind of coasting, and I needed to get past the coasting.
Yes. Okay. So if you're listening and you feel like you've been coasting, you've been meaning to finally commit to this, this is your chance. This is absolutely your chance to do it.
Yeah. I kind of had an aha, you could start now and do it anytime you've got like, oh gosh, my kids are going to college in September. I need to make sure I have enough money for their tuition. Go back a couple months and do a challenge like this and push yourself. Or if you just need to light your fire again, this could be done at any time. I happen to do it around the holidays, but it could, this isn't something that's time specific. It could be anytime. It
could be anytime. Because it turns out our clients need us all the time. So don't wait. Don't wait. Okay. Tell us your favorite ways to be in flow with your clients. You mentioned that you really enjoy live face-to-face interaction. What are some other ways that you really enjoy being in flow, and other things that work for you when it comes to either live flow, auto flow, any of those kind of things?
My favorite is handwritten notes. I love those so much. And in fact, in my community, I'm very well known for my notes. People, anytime, gosh, she sent me a birthday card, and my sister hasn't even sent me a birthday card. And thank you for the notes of encouragement. I have them on my fridge. And I mean, literally almost every week I get a picture of somebody with their card saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this card. It is exactly what I needed today. I love them so much. And I really lean into those, and probably more than 10 a week, most weeks.
Really? And for how long have you been doing that?
I realized this was one of the things that I was already kind of doing before Ninja. I didn't do it as consistently as I do it now, but I always loved to acknowledge people and say thank you or congratulations or birthdays or whatever that looks like. It's kind of, in fact, one year I decided to make bracelets for all my friends for their birthdays. I had learned how to make jewelry. And so I made bracelets for all my friends for their birthdays. And so it was just a natural extension of kind of what I was already doing and who I already was.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a box with all my cards in that I love. It's all organized and I love buying them. And I love the little doodads that go with them. My kids even gave me a wax seal stamp for Christmas so that I could put those on my cards.
Got it. Got it. That's fantastic. So you're doing things that feel really authentic to you, and you're leveraging relationship connection, all the things that we teach in Ninja. And so when you look at those transactions, look at those results that you had in the first quarter, can you tie all of those results back to what you did in November, or can you tie most of them or some of them, or how did that work out for you?
I don't know that I can. It's kind of when people always ask, what's your favorite Ninja activity or what got you that business? It's kind of like asking who your favorite child is. It's hard to really pinpoint that because it's such a tapestry of everything all working together. And I think some of it was my mindset and being open to it and attracting the things that were out there that I may have missed if I weren't doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know that I can really tie it to those things specifically, except that I was in a better place overall. And I think that's what had the machine going better.
Yeah. So it's not one thing, it's all the things.
Yeah.
And I really like what you said about it being a tapestry. That's a really great metaphor. And you know what? I'm thinking about the phrase you mentioned before, if you're invited, go. You were invited, right? You were invited to connect with people, and you went.
Yeah.
You were invited to add value, and you went. You were invited to have a great first quarter, and you went. So we're all invited. That's that's going to be one of my favorite phrases, I think, for a while. I love that you shared that.
I wish I could give credit to who said it, but it was very powerful.
Yeah, we need to track that down. We need to track down the source of that. I'm sure someone will make a comment in our Facebook group and other places and we'll get the right source. You mentioned, I
would love to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Julianne, you mentioned earlier that you went on the cruise, the Ninja Sailing. We had fun with that term, the Ninja Sailing Cruise. Where it wasn't just a cruise, it wasn't just connecting with other ninjas, but it was also the Ninja Now class. Mm-hmm. And we offer that class, and not right now on a cruise ship, but in many other places. It's a 2-day class for people who have been through the 4-day installation. It's a combination refresher and also new content. But I know I don't want to steal any thunder, Julianne, because you wanted to share a little bit about the Ninja Sailing Cruise and Ninja Now. You wanted to let people know about that. So tell us about your experience on the cruise and with the Ninja Now class.
So first I want to give a big shout out to Ninja Bob, his wife Cassia, and to Mike and Jen from Off Market Events. They executed an amazing event. It was just very well done. And I can't say enough good things about it from that perspective as well. It was such a unique experience. And I had heard about Ninja Now and wanted to attend one. And so I was looking to see when they were available. And when I went to the website, the only one that was on there was the cruise. And one of my big whys is travel. There's lots of travel on my life list. And I love Ninja. So I was like, let's see, put those things together. Where's the downside here? I signed me up.
Right.
So it was a great experience. And I felt pretty confident in my Ninja abilities. I'd been to 2 installations. I have a coach, I'm trying to do all the things right. But there were so many ahas there. In an installation, you get a green sheet. The Ninja Now, you get an orange sheet. And my orange sheet was full of things that I wanted to think about. And, my business is going really well. It's more just minor course corrections. But what a great reminder it was of just some things that maybe I had forgotten, or just some new things or some better things. There's some great buyer and seller dialogue in a manual that we've gotten that I want to spend a lot of time studying. Another thing that I really loved was Bob talked about avoiding decision fatigue. He's like, set up your closing gifts for the year, set up your auto flow for the year, set it all up and then just let it roll and adjust it yearly if you need to and evaluate it during business planning, but don't. And that was powerful for me. Another powerful aha I had was he called us corporate athletes. And I've been pondering that a lot and about what that means to be an athlete and how we need to train and perform with that kind of mindset. And that's been a good one for me too.
Yeah, we are athletes. Yeah, and we have to train and perform. We have to rest, right? Any elite athlete builds in intentional rest to their schedule so they can recuperate and be ready to perform. So that's really important. The corporate athlete. That's a powerful, really strong metaphor.
I love that one.
Yeah.
And
Great.
so, and anyways, we just had great time to socialize outside of class. We had some activities that were Ninja related outside of the actual class as well that we were able to share our buyer and seller packets and our real estate reviews. And the collaboration that we had with the group was so great. And it really just allowed us to create some deeper relationships on a whole nother level than we would have at a regular Ninja event. It was fantastic. And we actually have a Zoom reunion planned in a couple of days where we get together and do some skills practice and hang out again. So I'm excited.
That's powerful. That's the power of the Ninja Nation, right? Spending time with like-minded people who are all on the same path, working toward mastery, committed to being even better for our clients, for our families, for our friends, for ourselves. Yeah, I can only imagine. And I've heard the exact same thing from many other ninjas who are on that cruise. And hey, whether it's a cruise or any other setting, get yourself around other ninjas. I think that's a takeaway. It'll only make you better, right? Only make you better.
I forgot to shout out to Coach Tracy Peterson Neighbor. She was also there. She donated her time to be there with us as well, and she added so much value. And it was very fun to hang out with her as well. We had a great time. Yeah,
she had a terrific time on the cruise. Okay, so speaking of coaching, and again, you work with Mark Johnson is your coach. What caused you to start to think about having a coach, and then what's been helpful for you in coaching so far?
So as I said before, I did my first installation of November 2019, which was a few months before the pandemic. And once the pandemic started, the classes we had in our office went away, and I was so on fire and I didn't want to slow down. I was just so excited about my business. And so I thought, well, since, my office isn't going to be as much help right now, I better get a coach. And I had met Mark at my first installation. He was there. And he actually lives in our local area. So I thought that might be kind of nice for him to understand my business a little better. So I hired him, and it's been fantastic. And I've been taking that corporate athlete mantra with me with the coaching, and how when you're an athlete, you have a coach for your entire career. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that's why I have a coach. I'm a people pleaser, and I know that Mark is looking at my weekly meeting agenda every week, and I don't want to let him down. And so it helps me make sure I'm doing all my things. And I'm also a collaborative thinker and a collaborative problem solver. So it's so great to have somebody who's a neutral third party that I can run stuff past, and who gives me great ideas and helps me with getting through hurdles or celebrating successes. I've had some ups and downs, as we all do, and he's just helped me really navigate those highs and lows in a great way. And it's just been fun to celebrate with him and to share the difficulties as well, and have him help me get through it all.
Yeah, just to have someone partner with you through the whole journey. Yeah.
And it's given me so much consistency. He's taught me how to track my pie time, and how to just have a good morning routine, and how to time block, and all those things that have just been so critical for my success. And I'm very grateful for that teaching.
That's fantastic. Well, we are grateful for you and all the takeaways that you're sharing today. And just one last question before we wrap up. Is there anything else that you want to share that you think would be helpful for anyone listening, or any message you want to send out to the Ninja Nation?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, my story is pretty much just slow and steady wins the race. That's just really my mantra. I'm not a big power, be out there, sparkly kind of person. I just do the things, and it's just amazing how it all works and creates an amazing business and an amazing life. I love that Ninja has taught me to dream. I didn't dream a lot before I was exposed to Ninja, and it's given me the life of my dreams, honestly. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you shared. Just remember, everyone, if you're invited, go. And you are invited, invited to everything. Julianne, we're so happy that we invited you to this podcast. And I'm guessing that went through your head when you got the invitation to the podcast, you probably thought, well, I'm invited. I'm going to go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we all are thanking you for accepting that invitation, for everything that you shared today. Again, it's Julianne Rawlins. She's with Sotheby's Real Estate in Southern Oregon. Reach out to her to say thank you for all the wonderful takeaways. So thank you again, Julianne. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for engaging, for being a part of the Ninja Nation. We so appreciate it. And we so look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Take care.